Okay, so you want to own a dude ranch. Buy a few thousand acres in Montana, put some horses in the field, charge people $500 a night to feel like cowboys, watch the reservations fill up every summer. Here is the strange part. The most successful dude ranch owner in America right now does not make his money on horses. He makes it on the story of horses. And the ranches failing around him are failing not because they ran out of land, but because they never figured out the difference. By the end of this video, you will know exactly why a working cattle operation loses money almost every year, while the exact same acreage run as a guest ranch can generate 7 figures. What the Yellowstone effect did to land prices across the rural West. Why the thing that actually kills most dude ranches is not drought or debt, but a single shoulder season. And why the business everyone imagines when they picture wide-open spaces is one of the most capital-intensive hospitality operations in the country. Let's start with what it costs to get in. A legitimate dude ranch requires a minimum of 500 acres to feel like the thing guests are actually paying for. Below that, you are running a petting zoo with better PR. In Montana, Wyoming, and Colorado, where most of the country's approximately 500 dude ranches are concentrated, raw, undeveloped land runs between $2,000 and $4,000 per acre, depending on water rights, elevation, and road access. That is $1 million to $2 million before you have broken ground on a single cabin. Then, the Yellowstone problem. Since the Paramount series premiered in 2018 and turned the idea of owning a Western ranch into a cultural aspiration, land prices in counties like Park County, Montana, and Teton County, Wyoming have increased between 30% and 60%. Ranch brokers report that properties that listed for $3 million in 2017 are now trading at $5 to $7 million for the same acreage, same water rights, same fencing. You are not paying for a business. You are paying for a feeling that a television show manufactured. The infrastructure required to run paying guests on that land is a separate cost entirely. A guest-ready dude ranch needs cabins, not bunkhouses. Guests paying $500 to $2,500 a night expect plumbing, climate control, and beds that do not creak. A single cabin built to hospitality standard in the Mountain West runs $150,000 to $350,000 to construct. A 10-cabin operation, which is the minimum viable scale for generating meaningful revenue, requires $1.5 million to $3.5 million in cabin construction alone. Add the barn, the tack room, the dining hall, the outdoor arena, staff housing, the trail system, the insurance riders for equestrian activities, and the commercial kitchen required by state health codes the moment you charge someone for a meal. The total capital requirement to build a functional dude ranch from undeveloped land runs between $3 million and $8 million before a single guest checks in. Now, the question that actually matters: where does the money come from? It is not the horses. Here is the part that breaks people's brains. A horse costs between $300 and $800 a month to maintain in feed, farrier, and veterinary care. A herd of 30 horses, the minimum needed to run daily rides for 20 guests at a time, runs $9,000 to $24,000 a month in direct animal costs. That does not include wranglers, who in the Mountain West now command $18 to $22 an hour, plus housing. A ranch running 4 wranglers year-round is spending $150,000 to $180,000 on labor before accounting for any other staff. The horses are not the product. They are the bait. The product is the feeling of being somewhere the modern world cannot reach you. And that feeling is priced accordingly. Successful dude ranches are not in the hospitality business. They are in the transformation business. The ranches generating real margin have understood this completely. They do not sell nightly rates. They sell all-inclusive weekly packages, typically ranging from $3,500 to $7,000 per person per week, that bundle lodging, meals, and activities into total immersion. At $5,000 per person per week with 20 guests on property, a ranch generates $100,000 in weekly revenue during peak season. Peak season at most mountain dude ranches runs 14 to 18 weeks, June through September. That is $1.4 million to $1.8 million in annual gross revenue in a perfect year. Expenses at a 30-horse, 20-guest, 10-cabin operation run between $900,000 and $1.3 million annually when you account for horses, staff, insurance, food, maintenance, utilities, and marketing. The margin, in a good year, is real. In a bad year, it disappears entirely. Here is why. The seasonality problem is what kills most dude ranches that should otherwise survive. A business generating $1.5 million across 16 summer weeks is also generating close to nothing for the other 36 weeks of the year. The horses still eat in February. The core wranglers still need to be retained, or they walk and do not return. A ranch carrying $4 million in acquisition and construction debt faces annual payments of $280,000 to $320,000, regardless of occupancy. That payment is due in January, the same as it is in July. The operators who have solved this run winter programs, fly fishing seasons, hunting packages, and corporate retreats in the shoulder months. A 3-day corporate retreat for 15 executives at $800 per person generates $36,000 in a week. In October, that would otherwise produce nothing. The ranches adding $200,000 to $400,000 in shoulder revenue are the ones with the balance sheets to survive a summer that comes in 20% below projection. Now, the liability problem, which is the part nobody budgets for correctly on the first acquisition. Equestrian operations carry a different insurance profile than almost any other hospitality business. A guest who falls from a horse and sustains a serious injury creates a claims environment that general commercial liability policies are not designed to absorb. Equine liability insurance for a commercial guest operation costs between $15,000 and $40,000 annually, depending on herd size, terrain, and claims history. A single significant injury claim can trigger a policy review that doubles or triples that premium the following year. Industry data from the Dude Ranchers Association shows that guest injury incidents are the single most common reason profitable dude ranches go to market. Not drought, not rising land costs. A horse spooks on a trail, a guest lands wrong, and 3 years of litigation later the owners are selling. 2 scenarios, real numbers. Scenario 1, a small family-operated dude ranch. 10 cabins, 25 horses, 1,500 acres in a secondary market like Central Colorado rather than Teton County. Acquisition and build cost in the $2 to $3 million range. Peak season revenue of $800,000 to $1.1 million. Annual expenses of $600,000 to $800,000. In a strong year, $200,000 to $300,000 in operating profit before debt service. After debt service on a $2.5 million acquisition loan, the owner clears $80,000 to $150,000. Not bad until you account for the 80-hour weeks required to run it. Scenario 2, a premium destination ranch. The property's now trading at $8 to $12 million in the Yellowstone ecosystem, all-inclusive packages at $6,000 to $8,000 per person per week. 30 guests, 60 horses, a full culinary team, a spa component, and a social media presence managed by someone who was not also cleaning the tack room that morning. These operations generate $2 million to $4 million in gross annual revenue with margins that can reach 25 to 35% before debt service. Because the brand is doing work, the horses cannot. They are not competing on acreage. They are competing on identity. And the guests paying $7,000 a week are not buying a vacation. They are buying a story about themselves that they will repeat for the next 5 years. That is the actual economics of owning a dude ranch. It is not a land business. It is not a horse business. It is a feeling business running on top of one of the most capital-intensive rural infrastructure stacks in American hospitality. The land carries the cost. The horses carry the brand. The story carries the margin. Build it right, price it as the transformation it is, and solve the shoulder season problem before the first winter. And you own something rare. A business where the product is genuinely irreplaceable and the customer pays in full before they arrive. Build it wrong, and you own the most expensive hobby in the Mountain West. 30 horses that eat regardless of occupancy, and a mortgage that does not care how beautiful the view is.